Hey guys, I totally just misplayed when I was recording my last session, so I'm going to be showing you test hands now, just to show you how to handle some different decision trees with Endymions. This is a follow-up to my last video, which was an in-depth deck profile about this, so if you see any cards in here that you're like, oh, why does he run that? I covered every single card in this list, as well as these cards that I did not include in the deck. If there's any suggestions you guys might have, feel free to let me know, but this is a deck list for Master Duel, and just kind of showcase the power in Master Duel right now. So let's show you guys the optimal combo, and we'll go from there. So the big thing is that Endymion special summons from the deck, so this combo is going to show you what you can do before you even Pendulum Summon. So for this example, I'm going to get Sorcerer Supreme here. And I was doing this as an example last time, but I think this might be the best way to do this two-part card combo. And I'll show you why in just a second, because you can end on both of your negates really easily with this before you even Pendulum Summon. So, Servant special summons from the deck. I added Jackal so I could get Jackal later. Electromite will search out your Astrograph. This is why we run Astrograph, by the way, because when you use Electromite's effect to destroy something and add back to hand, Astrograph gets a free search off of it, as well as your +1 draw. So in this example, I'd search out, I usually summon here or on the right side, just so I don't interrupt these spots. You have to be careful with your link arrows, just because you're playing a Pendulum deck in 2022. So as you can see, I ended up back with Endymion Master Magic, and I +1'd. In the example where you draw into a scale, or you have 3 extra cards, if you have your other scale, you can go from here immediately back into your 2. So as you can see, it's a little dependent on not what you draw into, but what you already have on top of it. So you could consider it a 2.5 card combo, but half of your deck are low scales, half of your deck is searchers for the low scales. So this is pretty assured, and you end on a lot of these bad boys. Alternatively, you could have used Master Cerberus to search out Garuda, held the Garuda in hand if you have the other scale, etc. So that's an example of a 2-card combo that you would have at your disposal. A lot of the times you end on multiple negates on your board, which is really good. I like to end with Garuda in hand as well. It's also a really strong card. But let me do a random hand, and I'll admit I did a random hand that I totally botched last time, and that's why I'm re-recording this video. But this is a really freaking good hand, actually, so I will kind of go over what I would do in this case. A lot of times you want to bait out the Ash if you have multiple of these. In our case, we have the Spell Power Mastery. We don't have to worry about baiting the Ash. I'm still going to be doing the upstart anyways for the sake of the combo. Now this is interesting. So I did not draw into a good scale, so I'm going to search out Servant. And I'm going to use Servant to special summon my Master Magician like I did before. And the best part of opening with Magical Citadel, I might actually bump this to 3, is just that while you're doing these combos, it is still accumulating spell counters. So let's go for you. I am going to do the same play of sending Astrograph, and I'll be adding Astrograph back. Searching out my 3rd. Sorry if there was a little interrupt there. Continuing this play, I summon out the Astrograph, add a monster back, add to hand, and I give it a draw. And what do you know? I'm in luck. Because from here, and special summon out 1, 2, 3. And the only real problem I have with this end board is that I do not have a bounce for Endymion. So what I honestly do here is go for Celine, just so I have, I want to end up with, there we go. I want to end up with multiple spell counters on the board. I got 5 here, I got 4 here. I can now use Endymion's effects to bounce Citadel back. He would gain the spell counters. And I can use Jackal King to remove from any of these guys. So kind of, it seems like an underwhelming board, but you have to remember this is 2 monster negates and a spell trap negate. If Endymion's destroyed, he ends up searching out the Searcher. They also have to deal with your scales, or else you do it again. And Celine cannot be targeted by cards cannot be targeted for attacks specifically. But most people don't want to waste their resources popping Celine. If he were to wipe your board and your scales somehow, but let's say he uses a Lightning Storm, gets your back row. Your Citadel of Endymion stays, your monsters stay, if he manages to Raigeki you after that. So somehow he's managed to Lightning Storm you and Raigeki you. He manages to at least clean your mainline monsters. Your Celine stays because Endymion's Magical Citadel here makes it still unable to be targeted for attacks just because it's an Endymion card, not necessarily an Endymion monster. It's a sticky board overall. Here's a good example. If he Kaiju's your Endymion and then he breaks your back row, he's not going to be able to target your Celine for attacks, right? So you're in a pretty good spot with an end board like this. So this is a good example of like where a test hand could go. This is pretty standard stuff. Now this is pretty insane because when you have something like Mythical Institution, that's another Searcher on top of your spell power control. So let's go for something like this. And I'm activating the Power Mastery first, mostly so I can generate some extra spell counters with Mythical Institution. As you'll notice again, I'm going for the same starter. And I'm going to search out one other Jackal. Yeah, I'll do the same route. You can't really go wrong with summoning out multiple Jackals just because it ends up being multiple monster negates. So let's go like this. Electromite. Send the Astrograph. Just because you already have 2 Mythical Beast Jackal Kings, you could destroy your Sorcerer Supreme or your Jackal King. Really, either work. In this example, I'll just go Jackal King. Let's get 2 of these guys. It's always good. Add him back. Special summon Sorcerer Supreme. Add the Jackal King. And now here's a really fun part. This is actually kind of silly what I'm about to do. You can use Mythical Institution here and activate Endymion here. You can use your 3 to search out your low scale again in the form of Servant. Again, this is why Mythical Institution is good. It's a very generic searcher. I used all the tokens counters from Citadel for this. But for this example, I'm going to summon out Celine, because she will summon with 5 spell counters, just because I've already used control. I've got 4 spells on the field, so that's pretty good. But I am now going to summon out 3 jackals. And activate Secret Village. The opponent now can't activate spell cards unless he summons a spellcaster, or if he manages to wipe my board without spells. Pretty good. Most, like I mentioned, most decks in Master Duel are pretty spell dependent as well. So usually when you have Secret Village, I try to not prioritize ENDYMION, because the only other thing you'd have to worry about would maybe be like impermanence, just because turn 1 traps are not that big a deal. But also, if you're going against Eldritch, which if they go first, you'll probably know if they're playing Eldritch by now. Then go for ENDYMION, obviously. You don't want to be caught with your pants down. But as you can see, everyone has their own negate here. If he manages to kaiju one of our jackals, we can special summon it back with Celine. We have 3 monster negates. That's pretty huge. If you wanted to, go crazy, you could make it, 5 monster negates, get this Appaloosa on board, but that's overkill. That's kind of a meme. I would have stuck with the Celine, but just kind of as a showcase of the things you can do. So yeah, those were some test hands. Let me know if you guys would like to see anything else, would like any descriptions about or clarifications on any of the choices I made. I'm pretty active. I'll get back to you in the comments. Have a good day.